Just wait. Oh, yep. To the right, Austin Ward, and then Dylan Davis.
Ryan, I'm tired of asking about you winning.
Yeah. Okay.
Where maybe this defensive performance rank for you? I know it's early, it just happened, but from start to finish, that was about as good as maybe we've seen in your tenure here.
And they shouldn't have been out there at the end of the game. That was not their fault. I thought first off, the crowd was tremendous. Gene brought it up. I brought it up. When the shoe's rocking like that, it's difference maker. I thought our players fed off of it. You could tangibly see it on the field. They just fed off the crowd. And we got that sack on JT on that fourth down. That was as loud as I've heard in a long time. And I just felt the toughness, the physicality on defense. We started off with, really stopping the run and then forcing them to throw the ball. And, there's a lot of people who did a lot of great things on defense. But I got to give Jim Knowles a lot of credit and his staff for, the adjustments they've made. That was 2 top 10 wins now in the first 7 games where our defense played really well. And I'm happy for our guys. I'm happy for the success they've had. They came off of the last season with a few scars, just like we all did. But you're starting to see the confidence grow in a big way.
Over to the left, Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch, and then Cameron Teague Robinson.
Yeah, since Austin asked the obvious question, I'll ask you about the flip side of it. Obviously, you're without Travion and Emeka. How would you kind of assess the offense? Seemed like it was stuck in the mud a lot of the day.
Yeah, number 1 defense in the country statistically coming in, so we knew it was going to be a little bit that way. I thought there were times where we actually moved the ball okay. Didn't run the ball well enough. Didn't get enough explosive plays. We certainly, could use, Trey and Emeka back, but, we had enough to win. And, we don't score there. We had a couple really nice plays designed for Devin, and he rolled the ankle there, and so it was out for the game. So that kind of threw us off. But we still can't get in on those 2, third and fourth down plays. That would have been a huge difference maker. But overall, just not good enough. But I got to give Marvin Harrison so much credit. To go for 11 catches for 162 and a touchdown when. I would think most teams, the first thing they look at is how do I take away Marvin Harrison? And we targeted him 16 times. I think he was open on most 16 of those plays. And so he showed up in a big spot today again. And, I would argue to say, and I haven't seen everybody play across the country, that it's hard for me to find somebody who's better in the country. So I don't know, how he gets on these lists or doesn't get on these lists, but to me, he's one of the most special players in the country.
Run 4th and 2 there at the goal line.
When you're on the 2-yard line like that, I just feel like we got to punch it in. And the way our defense was playing, if we were going to get stopped, I felt like that was 98 yards for them to go if you're playing the numbers on it. Plus, we got to get on the 2-yard line. There's no excuse for that. And that's our expectation.
10 first downs for Marvin Harrison, too. Over to the right here, Dylan Davis.
Is that right?
Is that?
Because it was the same last year, 2 years.
Wow.
Kyle is now 1 on the road at Notre Dame, and he gets another top 10 win here at home. Over here, gets another top 10 win at home here. I guess how are you just seeing him grow up in front of your eyes in moments like this, where obviously wins are wins, but moments like these kind of have added significance.
He took care of the ball. There was the 1 sack fumble that was returned for a touchdown. So, if it wasn't a hold there, that would have been a whole different game. So we got to get rid of that stuff. It was a hold. That's why he double-clicked it, but still. There were some really good things. He kept battling in there and, did enough for us to win. But I know we're going to watch this film, and there's still going to be things that we need to grow on and then things that we got to enhance. And, we'll watch the film, and on Tuesday I'll have a better assessment of that if I can figure out if he graded out a champion or not. But, I know we left a lot of plays on the field today on offense, and we didn't execute well enough in certain areas. Now, again, number 1 defense in the country, so it's all relative, so we'll look at it. And it was good enough to win, but certainly our defense put us in a great situation on offense.
Far left, Cameron Teague Robinson, The Athletic, and then Max Olson.
Ryan, coming into this game, you talked about Penn State's ability to just hold the ball time possession without on the field. They're 1 for 16 on third down today. What does that say about this defense that they don't give up big plays and they get on third down?
Yeah, we did 1 for 16 is just tremendous. And then 1 for 3 on third down. So I guess it's 2 of 19 for third, fourth downs. unbelievable job. I think that was the combination of the rush and the coverage. I thought Jermaine Matthews played a big-time game for a freshman, having to step up without having Denzel in there. That was big. I'll forget some guys because there was just a lot of great play on defense. But, if we can play like this, then that's championship-level defense. And if we can keep growing as a team, then, we'll be tough to beat here down the road.
Over to the right, Clay Hall, WSYX.
I know it's 1-0 every Saturday is a goal, and it's a huge win. But in this game where you're always trying to angle for later on, it's a huge leg up in a lot of ways in the East. And Penn State had a win over Iowa. I mean, maybe that's not your thought today, but it could be down the road.
Well, again, I'm sure there's a couple teams out there, maybe not, that have 2 top 10 victories right now on their resume. And I think the most encouraging thing, although it's like this back and forth, is, we come out of this game thinking that, we probably should have won the game by a few touchdowns at least. So I'm going to wait for that tomorrow. I'm going to enjoy this because it is, you have to find these moments to enjoy because this is a top 10 win. If you said, you're going to beat Penn State today 20-12, where do I sign up? This is a good team coming in here, well coached. James, great job. Manny does a great job on defense. Mike, as we know, does a great job on offense. And, they have good players, NFL players all over the field. So, like you said, the goal is to be 1-0. It doesn't always look pretty at times in these games. I think about the last few games that we've been in against, since I've been here, the games that we've been in against Penn State. It's like it's kind of ugly early on, and then everything kind of happens in the fourth quarter. I know, Jerry, you mentioned that last year. Like it was 16-14. The final ended up 40-33 or whatever it was. So we knew we had to get this game into the fourth quarter. Tommy Eichenberg mentioned something in the locker room about how we have to be second half warriors. We want to take the next step as a team. But we got to finish this thing off the right way. The leadership there. I thought Cade Stover's leadership was tremendous. Xavier Johnson had to step up with Emeka out again. Yeah, he did that. Leadership is important in big games like this.
Another Marvin Harrison stat. He's the first player in Ohio State history to have 5 games of 160-plus receiving yards. David Boston had 4. Over to the left, Max Olson, The Athletic.
Yeah, Ryan, over here. When you talk about Marvin being the best in the country, I'm curious, in big games like this, what's his preparation like? What's his demeanor like today?
You can interview him and talk to him about his exact routine, but people ask me, a couple of guys in this room when they're in the Woody during a Tuesday, Wednesday, or whenever they're in there, say, who's going to leave first, you or Marvin? I said, I don't know, but I always look before I leave to see. He's in there early in the morning. He's out there late at night. Practice, however long we practice. Practice gets done, I'll go up and eat, and he'll still be out there on the jugs going through the routine. He goes through every play, just going through it in his head. He'll go out there and throw it with Kyle. Then he'll get on the machine that he has, which you should see this machine. He can actually feed it and presses the button and he shoots it to himself. Coach Mick made a rule that he has to bring somebody with him now, though he can't just go on his own. But guys have embraced that, and that's something that's a legacy that he'll leave behind is his work ethic.
Over to the right, Stephen Means, Cleveland.com, and then Spencer.
Ryan, I think it was about 50 seconds left, and you had 3 timeouts at the end of the first half. Why just kneel it instead of maybe more?
Just felt like we were coming out with the ball in the second half. I just felt at that time let's just regroup at halftime. I didn't want anything crazy to happen. The fumble return for a touchdown was in the back of my mind. I thought the defense was playing well. I just didn't want to take any chances. It was conservative on my end. I agree. But the number one goal, as we talk about, is to be 1-0. This is a top 10 game. And at that moment, I felt like the right thing to do was take it. He was on the 18-yard line. If it was on the 30-something, maybe I probably could have run it there. Just see if you pop a run. Yeah, if I did it again, maybe consider that. But at that time, I felt like it was, let's get into halftime. Let's figure out what's going on. We'll make the ball in the second half. And let's go from there.
Over to the left, Nathan Baird, Cleveland.com.
First off, do you have any sense yet how long Denzel might be out?
Yeah, it was close this week. So we'll hopefully get him back for practice next week. And if he has a full week of practice, he'll be ready to go.
I guess at the risk of being uncouth, is this kind of why you guys went out and threw a bunch of money at Jim Knowles to bring him here to coordinate this defense to win championship level games in this way?
Well, the expectation at Ohio State is to be the best in the country. And our defense, I think, has a chance to do that. And when Jim got here, I know that was what he wanted to do. And He's done a great job of installing his defense, and especially in the first year. But now, he's really got a feel for the conference. I think he's taking the next step with our personnel, and the guys are playing with confidence. And I think he does a tremendous job of giving them enough information that they need, but not overloading them to play fast and confident. That was the most confident and energetic group that I've been around probably since 19 out there. When the crowd was, the whole group was just, they had that look in their eye. They were getting the crowd involved. A couple of times, I'm like, guys, they're about to snap the ball. Let's go, get going. I love that. That's the confidence that is building week in and week out.
Got time for just a few more over here to the right, Spencer Holbrook, Letterman Row.
Ryan, I guess in that same vein, how much does this defense allow you to change the calculus in the way you're calling offense? I know that in past years, maybe I don't want to speak for you, but you might have gone for a touchdown at the end of the first half. You might have kicked a field goal to accept it to 7. What has changed with this defense as good as it is right now?
I just think in a game like this in particular, you have to do whatever you can to win the game. And if you feel like your defense can flat out win you a game, then you have to make sure that you're doing your part. You can't be selfish in that moment. As much as you'd love to just push the pedal to the metal, the goal is to win the game. Sometimes we forget about that. Now there's other times where you want to find out where your offense is. Challenge yourself and grow and build and put them in situations to grow. I just felt like today, watching the game, that our defense was in control of the game, and if we get a couple drives together and punch it in and control the clock, it certainly had a lot to do with the defense. But we did have the ball for almost 35 minutes of the game, and then that was well done. I just think that, we could have been a little bit more explosive, and certainly not finishing that drive, hurt us. Made it a closer game than it should have been. But in whatever the game is, the goal is to win the game, and the more confidence we have in our defense, that allows us to play a couple different ways.
Third row left, Pat Murphy, 24/7 Sports.
Ryan Cade had a few big catches today. He's done that in the last few weeks. Guys, I know Marvin gets a lot of the talk offensively, but what does he give you guys when he's out there making plays like that?
Probably one of the most valuable guys on our offense. Certainly Marvin is Marvin, but after that, Cade's right there. We got a couple guys in there that, Cade does so much of the dirty work. He's such a great leader. He's such a tough player, and he's become a really good receiver. 4 catches for 70 yards, some big time plays. And so we got to keep finding ways to get him the ball. We got to keep finding ways to be creative, to do that for him. He deserves that. Probably could have done a better job after doing that for him today. And we got to keep finding ways to be explosive in the run game. We got to do that. If we want to take the next step as a team, we have to be able to figure that part of it out. Had a couple ideas with Devin. Losing him hurt us, because I thought maybe in the fourth quarter, if we needed to do in a 4-minute drill, we could utilize some of those things. We didn't have it. We looked a little out of sync. So we got to make sure that we have a plan for that as well. So got to figure that out and hopefully get these guys healthy. But yeah, Cade's a big part of all of that.
Right here in the front row, Tim May on 3, and then Adam Rittenberg.
There you go. Ryan, I was going to ask you what does it say about the toughness of your team, but I didn't want to get you going again. JT Tuimoloau in Penn State, and then, of course, Josh Proctor today also. I mean, what did you just see out of those guys? And we've asked you this before about what comes on with JT Tuimoloau when games are in the balance, so to speak, and speak to him, I guess.
Well, I think the first thing you notice when you talk about those guys, and just in general, I thought we played physical today. There was a point where we were running the ball too on offense where we were being physical. We were knocking them back. Matt was some good things, not enough at the end, but early on. But the defense in particular, JT and Josh, I thought they were physical. It was more than just them. Just overall played fast, strong, violent. But JT, I feel like for him, when he gets into those moments where, it's a passing situation and he bumps out a little bit more and his bucket's a little bit higher, like, here we go, because now, he knows what's coming. And, he can get himself, those special players can do that. They turn themselves up just a little bit more in those big clutch spots. He did again today.
Over to the left, Dan Hope, 11 Warriors. That'll be the last one from that side.
Ryan, what went into the decision not to use Dallin at all today? Could Travion have played if you had needed?
Travion, no, he ended up being unavailable. It was as close as we could to the game to decide whether he could go or not. We're again hopeful to get him back next week. I feel like he is close. But to check with Tony and going into the game said, if Trey's not available, where do you think we'll go? We felt like if Dallin was available, that we were using him. And Tony felt like those were the two best guys to go with at the time. And I trust him. He's a running backs coach. We'll reevaluate it this week and see if that was the right thing to do.
And final question, Adam Rittenberg, ESPN.
Ran right here. 7 games and you have some evidence of who you guys are. I mean, what is the personality and maybe how is it different from other teams you've coached here at Ohio State?
Yeah, you're right. I think the first thing is just an experienced group of guys that has been through the fire before. We've always been talented, but sometimes we've been young and inexperienced. You think about, 19, 20, 21. I mean, really talented players. I mean, NFL players, guys who are first rounders, but young. And sometimes playing against guys who are 21, 22, 23 years old in the COVID year, sometimes more than that. And this year's team is not only more veteran, but the third-year guys, those guys have played a lot of football. You're talking about JT and Jack and Tyreek and, Mecca and Marvin. Those are all third-year guys, but they played a lot of football here. So the combination of experience and I think, age and maturity is probably the biggest thing. Style of game, style of play, I would say our defense is really strong right now. We have a big-time playmaker in Marvin. We have a super dynamic tight end who's, doing a lot for us in both ways. A quarterback who's growing. I think the biggest part of that is, hopefully getting, some of these guys healthy and continue to build the passing game more, the running game to be more explosive. If we can take that next step, we have a chance to be really good and reach our goals.
All right, Coach, thank you very much for your time. All right, folks. Hey, Caitlin and Lexi, if you can help us get a couple of players at the table, some computers on tables, need to lift those off. We're going to have Mark here at the front, and I'm gonna hold him for.
We got Coach Knowles in his jacket on here after a big win. So.
All right. Where do we want Marvin? All right, we're going to take Coach Knowles at the front here. We've got Marvin Harrison Jr. at a back table. I've got Steele Chambers at a back table. How many back tables do we have? 3? Yeah, and Cody and Steele will be at one table. And I've got Jordan Hancock also at a table back there. Yeah, I'm gonna get Coach a bottle of water. You guys just pass the microphone around for just identify yourself. Coach Knowles will start off. Gabe, where's the microphone? Oh, okay. Yeah. That's fine. Okay, we'll open it up. Just go back and forth. Who's ever got it? Yep.
Jim, we talked to you in the locker room after the Peach Bowl, and there was a sense of frustration or disappointment in your voice with the way that last season ended and the way that the defense, I think you said, almost let the offense down. To go out and have a performance like this, in this big of a spot, in this game, with your defense and win it with defense, what does that mean for you to see this group kind of start to come full circle?
First, you're happy for the players, and happy for our head coach and all the fans, and that they now have confidence, that they can win the game on defense. I don't look at stats, but I guess Penn State had a pretty good defense, so we talked to them before the game about, hey, you're not just Penn State's offense, you're playing Penn State defense. If they make one play, we got to make 2. If they make 2, we got to make 3. So it's sense of maturity, leadership, maybe a little chip on your shoulder, and we've got a lot of work to everyone faith in us, for sure.
Over to the left, Cameron Teague Robinson, The Athletic.
Jim, you mentioned on Tuesday how you had to get Penn State ball schedule because they just do the ball so methodically. 1 of 16 on third down. What does that say about where this defense is right now than maybe where it was?
They know the scheme, and when I make adjustments week and the things you talk talked about that. We had to get the stops. We had to get them off schedule, and we make little adjustments in the scheme. They pick up on it, and that's a big deal because winning those downs in a game like that is huge, and that only comes with preparation and with guys who are knowledgeable about the scheme.
Over here to the right, Dylan Davis, Delaware Gazette.
Jermaine was thrust into a huge spot today. How do you think he played and handled that position?
Yeah, like I said, the kid's got moxie. I don't think he knew how big a moment it was, and that's not a bad thing. He just went out and played, made some tackles, didn't flinch, at the moment of truth, and really, really proud of him. He's a good player.
Nathan Barrett, Cleveland.com, over to the left.
When we were all talking about how you had sort of backed off the blitzes a couple weeks ago, Ryan said something along the lines of, well, I know he's got more dialed up. And I was thinking of that when Jordan broke through and got that third down. So kind of just talk about that play maybe and how it just fit into what you're trying to accomplish in this game.
Yeah, that again, you go back to knowledge of the scheme, with a guy like Jordan who plays both positions. And, that was really a blitz based off of the formation. They started huddling a lot, not showing us the formation, where I can usually make the call based on the formation. They started huddling, and Jordan had to recognize the formation, see it, and go. So that really shows a lot of progress with the defense and whole. And Jordan is just playing both positions and doing a great job.
Over to the right, Jeremy Birmingham, the podcast Rivals.
Hey, Jim, last couple weeks up and down for the linebacker group. Today, Tommy leads the team in tackles right there. Cody plays a big role. How important was it for you to see those guys be productive today, knowing that they were going to be tested in the short passing game, the running game?
Yeah, it was, that intermediate passing game combined with a really strong running attack. We knew that they were going to be a real focus in terms of I've always had faith and, do the right things. And then it's just, it's that competitive excellence. It's showing up when we need them the most. And those guys, veterans, they showed that we can count on them.
Over to the left, Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
Jim, Ryan talked about how he could just watch the demeanor of the defensive players, and they look so confident and so excited to be out there. Do you get that sense? And what's it like for you to kind of, where you are, to call the plays knowing that the defense feels the way that they do?
Yeah, confidence and momentum. It's such a huge part of the attitude of the defense. I mean, probably where I'm most proud of is we got the stop at their end, and then we turned it over on the punt return, and we came right back up, stopped them again. I think that shows a lot of confidence and a lot of want to. Hey, okay, that's fine. Put us. You don't flinch in that situation because that's easy to, hang your head. And they went out there and got the stop. So I think that kind of shows where we're at right now.
Adam Rittenberg, ESPN.
Yeah, Jim, your defensive linemen before the year were talking openly about being the best group in the country and a lot of high hopes on them. How do you feel they played today, and where are they as a group right now?
There's a lot of depth there. There's a lot of guys that play. They've really been solid all year. Guys inside are making tackles. We've been getting pressure. So, I think that maybe people look at stats only, but I could see the film. I knew we have a really good group, and they showed up.
Over to the left, Dan Hope, 11 Warriors. Just got time for a few more for Coach.
What do you think is just the biggest thing that's clicked this year? It's allowed this defense to take this step and really play it at an elite level so far this year.
You got great leadership. You got guys who want to, hold up our end, guys who want to be counted on. And then you throw that in with an extra year knowledge of the scheme. That knowledge of the scheme is really a big deal. Being able to see the forest through the trees, understanding, being able to handle, adjustments during the week, where, maybe in the past you're hesitant to put new things in because guys don't quite understand them. And they pick things up and they study, and they take a lot of pride.
Over to the left here, Marcus Hartman, Dayton Daily News.
I think early they were averaging 8 yards a carry. They had a couple of explosive runs, and then sort of like looked like you turned the spigot on them. What was the difference there?
The explosive runs were just bad calls by me, and so I started making better calls. Yeah.
Over to the right here, Jeff Gilbert, Press Pros.
What types of things were you concerned that Penn State might be able to be successful at, and how do you stop those? What are the things you tell them?
Yeah, certainly the running game. They were a team that could drive, and the intermediate passing game, very effective. So, we wanted to get them in situations where they had to throw the ball down the field. Rush a chance to get there. We mixed things somewhat in the rush. We did the right things early in the series, to situations where we could force them to try to throw the ball down.
Thank you very much. All right, folks, we're going to bring Kyle McCord up to the front podium, and we're going to put JT Tuimoloau to that back left. Go ahead and wrap up with Jordan Hancock. JT, if you can go back to the far back one there. You're fine. Yeah, let's wrap up Jordan Hancock. We'll keep Marvin for a couple more minutes there. We'll open it up to the floor over here. Dylan Davis to the right with Delaware.
Kyle, was there a little bit of a time where you needed to kind of settle down? Were you a little amped up to start out that game? And I guess, was there a particular point where you kind of felt like you settled in?
Yeah, I feel like early on that first drive, I thought we did a pretty good job of moving the ball, made the plays, and we went down, put the field goal up. But I think just for me, at least, I feel like I just needed to ease into the pocket a little bit more. Obviously they're a really good D-line, but I thought our line did a really good job today, and I felt like the more and more plays we started running, the more and more they started to wear down. So I felt like we did a good job just continuing to play, and I need to do a better job, I think, early on. I wouldn't say relaxing, but just calm in the pocket.
Helped lead your team to a win on the road at Notre Dame, another top 10 showdown here at home against Penn State. I guess, how have you seen your own confidence grow? And I guess, where do you see yourself being now compared to where you were on that road trip to Bloomington?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, like you said, was the confidence factor of it, just the comfort level too. I feel like the offense, we've definitely grown. I feel like we did a good job of moving the ball today. I thought a few times in the red zone, we stalled, obviously. It didn't put up a touchdown, but for the most part, especially in the second half there, I feel like we were really moving the ball how we wanted to. And so I think it's just continuing to figure out how to take the next steps, how to continue to put points on the board, because obviously the defense played lights out today. So I think if we can really just, mix our offense and with the way the defense is playing, it's going to be scary.
Over second row left, Lori Schmidt, Columbus Dispatch, and then Nathan Baird.
Kyle, I'm sure who is aware of what's going on in the college football landscape. What do you think a win like this does for you guys?
Yeah, I think a top 10 win. I think it's week 7 or 8 in the college football season, only 2 top 10 wins. So I think in terms of resume, I don't know if we could have a better resume right now, but that doesn't mean anything if we don't continue to win, don't continue to stack these games. And I think ultimately everybody in that locker room knows, it's the next game mentality, and as long as we continue to keep winning, everything else will take care of itself.
Just real quick, reading between the lines of Ryan Day's comments up here, you seem to be stumping for Marvin Harrison for Heisman. You see him every day. Could you speak to what kind of candidate he is for an award like that?
Yeah, I mean, if it's truly the award that goes to the best player in college football, I don't see how he's not, in the mix. I mean, obviously, what he's done, especially the games, I think, I don't know if we've seen kind of a stretch like that, just how consistent he is, how reliable he is. So obviously you guys say it just like I do. He's done a great job, and obviously he's a lot of fun to play with.
Right here in the front row, Brendan Gulick, Buckeyes Now on Sports Illustrated.
Kyle, I know when you're playing in a game like this, you're focused on the game that's in front of you, right? You're not thinking about Notre Dame. But you just referenced you got 2 top 10 wins now the first 7 weeks of the season. How much more confident in your own ability did you feel coming out of that Notre Dame game? And did it help you settle when you were playing in an environment like this?
Yeah, I think especially a game like that, with the type of opponent that it was in Notre Dame, I think is a really good team, as well as the environment. I don't think you can really draw up, especially early on in the year, tougher game for a team to go into, and getting that win was huge. And myself, and I think for the rest of the team, that was a huge confidence boost. They go in there and win. So we obviously got back from that game, tried to correct what was wrong, but at the same time, we knew that it's going to be a good year.
Quick follow up. There's been a lot of attention for Marvin, the way he makes incredible catches. The throw you made to Cade Stover down the seam where he caught the ball over the top of a defender. Can you touch on what you've seen from Cade and his work ethic trying to develop as a receiver so he can go out and make plays like that?
Yeah, I think when I first got here, it was Cade's third year, and at that time, he was kind of bouncing back and forth between linebacker and tight end. And just seeing the work that he's put in over the past few years with Coach Bailey, I think the work speaks for itself. I think he's always been a very physical presence. I feel like he's never lacked anything in the run game. But then just seeing the work in his route running, his ball skills, all that, I think it's really starting to show. And if teams want to, give Marvin extra attention, that's going to leave other guys one-on-one situations like you saw. And obviously, he went up, made a great. He's been doing that for the entire season.
Over to the left, Nathan Baird, Cleveland.com.
A year ago, defense gave up some of those explosive touchdowns and left the offense at times to a place where now you guys had to go out and sort of make up for that. With defense playing the way it is this year, and they obviously made a point of improving there, but the way the defense is playing this year, has it changed the vibe around this program at all? Like week to week, is it just a different relationship that is happening right now?
Yeah, I think with the way they've been playing, I think it takes the pressure off of the offense. It's not that mindset that we have to go and score a touchdown every single time, or else the game's going to be in jeopardy. And so just seeing what Coach Knowles and the guys have been able to do, it's been I think a huge testimony to their work ethic. I know those guys are putting extra hours watching film, getting all their checks right, and to see them come out and really shut that offense out, it takes a lot off the offensive shoulders.
We're at the point of 2 and done on both sides. We need to start wrapping up with JT Tuimoloau in the back. Over here to the right, Andy Backstrom.
Kyle, when you got a game like that, and maybe you would have liked to play better, but ultimately you get as a leader of the team. Like, how do you process that? I guess in the moment and then after that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, regardless of how you play, getting a top 10 win is really good. And obviously, I think we'll use this momentum and keep it rolling. But at the same time, you go back and you watch the film. And I think I said this when we played Notre Dame. A top 10 win, and you go back and watch the film. There's so much room for improvement, and I feel like obviously we've taken steps in the right direction since that game. I think we've definitely got better, but at the same time, like the sky for this offense, for this team. And so I know going back and watching the film, there's going to be plays. Obviously, I went back. I think there's good, but then there's some things that we got to clean up. And I can only imagine how good this team's going to be once we really reach that peak potential.
Over to the left, Joey Kaufman, Columbus Dispatch.
This is a game for Marvin where Micah's not here. Penn State was giving him more safety help. It seemed like there was a lot of focus on their end of trying to take him away. And yet, yesterday, like he had, what did he do today, you think, to allow him to produce as much as he did?
Yeah, I think regardless of the coverage, in the back of my mind, I know there's a good chance Marvin's going to get open. And so anytime they gave me an opportunity to get him the ball, and that's what they represented, that's what I try to do. And, obviously he gets the attention that he deserves, and rightfully so. And I think that opens up other guys. But at the same time, you can't double him all game. You can't, give him extra all game in some one-on-one situations. And I've said this, and I'll say it again. There's not a matchup in the country if Marvin's one-on-one that I don't like.
Over to the right, Jeremy Birmingham, Rivals, the podcast.
Kyle, how close do you think the offense is to being where you want it to be? Both yourself personally, but then just the little ticks that seem to be off. I mean, how close do you think it is?
I think we're really close. You go back and you watch the film and you ask yourself, okay, what is holding us back from scoring on every single drive? And it's small details, whether that's me or the line or receiver, whatever it is. It's the little things that can easily be cleaned up. And like looking back on the film from week one, there's okay, there's a lot to clean up, and then I feel like everything's better and better. So now it's how can we continue to minimize those mistakes, continue to minimize those errors, and continue build because, like I said, I think the sky's the limit.
Bigger picture question. How do you develop chemistry with a wide receiver like Carnell, a young guy? You obviously years with Marv and Julian and Becca. I mean, how do you develop chemistry with a young receiver?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for him that really impressed me with when he got here, he had a really good understanding of just defenses, how his route changes based on what they're playing, what kind of leverage to attack in a certain route. And so anytime a young guy has that kind of football IQ, it makes my job a lot more easier. And then I think just getting as many reps as you can get with him, and just continue to build that chemistry. And I think he's taken some really good strides. And obviously, I think the sky's the limit for that kid. So excited to see where his career takes him.
Final question for Kyle. Dan Hope, 11 Warriors. We got to wrap it up with JT, please.
Yeah, Kyle, I mean, you guys have had a knack, whether it was Notre Dame, Maryland, today, where when you guys have needed a drive in the fourth quarter, you've been able to come up with it. What do you think it is that's kind of allowed you guys in those clutch moments to find that another gear?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think the biggest thing is what we talk about, just competitive excellence. When someone needs to make a play, whether that's me just putting the ball in a one-on-one situation, letting a guy go up and make a catch, or someone winning on a route, or the line making a good block up front, opening up the run, whatever it is. I feel like the guys have responded to that every single time. And, obviously we would like to get that going early on. But I would much rather have a team say that, we start slow and finish really well than vice versa. So I think we just need to continue to keep building on that and ask ourselves, how can we do that earlier in the game?
And one final question from Timmy.
What's going through your mind at that moment in the game? Maybe the best receiver in the country is wide open. Just don't screw it up. And what was going on there? I mean, after all the struggle today.
Yeah, no, I think we had I think they called a timeout right before that play, so we were able to talk it over on the sideline. We got the look that we wanted, and obviously we ran a good route and got open. So it's just my job to get the ball in his hands and let him go to work.
Kyle, thank you very much. Congratulations. All right.